and to be shedding more light on this important topic and the efforts of Egypt to be alleviating the suffering on the Palestinian citizens, especially in the Gaza Strip. I'm honored to be having with me over the phone Major General Osama Kabir, the advisor at the Military and Staff Command College. Thank you very much for being with us tonight on Nile TV International and the Daily Debate.
Good evening, Mr. Leonard. Thank you for this call.
Anytime. First of all, Major General Osama, how do you see the importance of the efforts of Egypt to be alleviating the suffering of the Palestinians, and more specifically in the Gaza Strip, both on the diplomatic and the humanitarian levels?
Right, I see it's very important for the diplomatic efforts or other than the humanitarian efforts. As we can understand, if we go to the humanitarian levels, first of all, I would like to stress on this number or this ratio of numbers that Egypt have provided what approaches the ratio of 80% from all what the whole world have provided as humanitarian aids to the Gaza Strip. That's number which is recorded within the United Nations and the Red Crescent as well as the Cross Crescent papers. So through like too many domains, you just spoke about the medicine domain and the personal domain as well as the food, petroleum, liquids and necessities. It goes up to like thousands of tons have been provided from Egypt through the Rafah cross point. Exactly, that was never been closed by the Egyptian authority, and it was closed by the other side unless we could reopen it again since almost around 5 months before. Secondly, in the diplomatic efforts, and we can understand that
yes,
we have led the diplomatic efforts globally, and we intensified our attitudes by the Foreign Minister, Brigadier, and his group, like up, down, north, south, all over the world, trying to come to good resolutions with this catastrophe, and finally we could reach to the agreement of ceasefire agreement that been signed on 13th of October 2025 in Sharm el-Sheikh of Egypt. So this is very obvious, it's very clear to everyone, and unless Egypt's things could get much better than this, and we are continuing our ongoing efforts actually, and we are injecting the whole power needed to still keeping up the momentum within the peace process, hoping that we can end the catastrophe and the scourge took place in Gaza. And we need to remind here now that the West Bank is now under the increasing invasion by the IDF and the settlers there. So we are taking care of that. We have held meetings 10 days ago by the attendance of Nikolai Miladinov, that's the new chief master of the new executive council that will be leading the process in Gaza, by the presence also of Hamas and other Palestinian factions as well as the Palestinian Authority representatives. So yes, diplomatic channel and the humanitarian aids and efforts, Egypt comes at the first place as usual, and who else other than Egypt would take care of that within the Middle East? Yes, sir.
Yes, Major General Osama Kabir, as you mentioned, the diplomatic efforts of Egypt, according to the directives of His Excellency President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi and the efforts of Foreign Minister Dr. Badr Abdulati, as we do see today that he is in Washington in the United States to be having more discussions with his American counterpart regarding strengthening the bilateral relations between Egypt and the United States on different levels. One of them is the implementation of the second phase of the ceasefire in Gaza, which was chaired by President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi as well as the American President Donald Trump, and was signed here in Sharm el-Sheikh in the month of November last year. How do you see the importance of Egypt in terms of the redevelopment and the reconstruction and the implementation of the second phase of the ceasefire agreement in the Gaza Strip?
Right, again, very important and intrinsic role to play. You know why? Because since we have signed this agreement on 15th of October 2025, and the first phase was supposed, this is like logically and has been jotted down in the papers, to be extended for something like 30 days. And if you remember that, we need to remind our very respectful audience that there was something like three different types of colors of lines. We had the first, the blue line, then we moved to the yellow line, which is she's capturing around 53% from the Gaza Strip by the IDF, and for 30 days, we're supposed that the yellow line will move down a little bit to go to the red line. So they are seize captured something like 38% up to 14% from the Gaza land scale. But because of the war in Iran, it seems like things have been hampered and stopped for a while. And that's why the Egyptian political leadership, as well as the foreign minister, is pretty much aware of what's happening, and we need to quickly revamp the whole process before the whole world is now indulged truly within the Iranian war and the locking of the Hormuz Strait, as everybody knows that. So again, this is very important because we need to go in a parallel lines with what's happening with Iran. Now we need to continue on the Gaza peace process as well as the West Bank. And that's why the foreign minister now is in Washington, D.C. with his counterpart, or whatever the groups with him. So quickly start to reconnect with the problem and start launching moving forward and to get Nikolai Miladinov with them and to see things much better within the Gaza Strip in the very near future, inshallah.
Yes, Major General Osama Kabir, the advisor at the Staff and Command College, thank you very much for being with us tonight on Nile TV International and the Daily Debate.